Hi, welcome to Deep Run Railroad. This is your host Mike. I'm gonna give a little video presentation on the purple hat. Shown here on the screen, Hans released a video about 11 months ago on some new features of the purple hat. Video number 122, and one of the sections that I found most helpful was this one, multifunction decoder configuration variables. It starts at about 12:40 in this video after he tells you about all the new features, and this has greatly improved my speed matching and locomotive configuration. So you fire up your Decoder Pro and you select the loco you want to program, and you do programming on the main, and it brings up your decoder screen. And if you watch this video, he covers a couple of different segments, and I'm going to go over them in my order. He does them in a little different order, but I think he talks about this one last, but I think it really should be first. What you want to do is make sure that at speed step 1 your locomotive moves. If it doesn't, then you need to adjust it, and for this decoder it's under acceleration rate, and you put in a value here and use your manual throttle and to get the locomotive to just move as soon as you get to speed step 1 or 2, whatever the lowest your throttle can go. And then you write that to the decoder. So you have to have Decoder Pro up and be programming your locomotive to set that value. You come down here and you write changes on sheet, test, change, test. The next thing you want to set is your basic speed control. Now you want your start, mid, and max voltages all to be 0 unless your locomotive doesn't move. I've got a Broadway Limited that will not start with these values set to 0. So that's another reason to have the Decoder Pro open and a manual throttle. Engine driver works real well because it doesn't time out and has pretty much infinite battery. So you get that set so that your locomotive just inches when you hit speed step 1. And then here is the thing that I found key was you want to program using the speed table, and you want to set the speed table the linear speed curve straight line, and you come down here and you force straight, and that'll put all the sliders in a straight line, and you set your forward and your reverse trim to the maximum your decoder will take, 255, 255, and you write the changes on the sheet. And then once all that's done, you can go up and you do a file and you save your Decoder profile back to your hard drive, because that's the file that you're going to pull in to use for speed table or speed matching. One of the things I found when you're using this web page is you have to go to your settings and you have to allow for download of insecure content. If you don't, you may miss that when you go to save these files, the JMRI files, your profile file, your technical speed profile, you'll get a little pop-up in the window over here, for Chrome anyway, that blocks the download because this is a non-secure website, which is fine for these purposes, but it's aggravating. You can override it, but if you forget, you may think you saved the file and when you haven't. That's a nuisance. So we loaded our JMRI file that we just set up, and all the values populate. You set your throttle profile. I've got a switcher, so it's pretty linear here, and you run your test. And I was getting rather inconsistent results when I was running the test, but I figured out what it was, and I'll tell you in a minute. So you run the test, you get your profile, and that looks great, and you want to save it. So down here you can save the JMRI file also. So you may have success in writing the CVs on the main where you run your test, or if you've got the sorry for the scrolling. If you're doing the mainline programming up here and down here, I'm going to start this section over. So you verify that you're programming on the main. You've gotten your technical speed profile. You like the way it looks. Got your speed table settings. It looks a lot like what put in for the throttle. You've got good forward and reverse trim settings. I've seen these out of whack. That'd give you an indication that your test wasn't very good. So you can save the JMRI file and then write it to your hard drive. And then you write the CVs that were calculated when you ran the test, and it'll save them to your engine. Now mine timed out, so I had to go back up here, click program track, and put my engine on the programming track and write the CVs again. And in doing so, after that, then the engine was programmed. So that's a little step by step for how I've managed to use the purple hat and my method. Yours may be different, but I found that using Decoder Pro in conjunction with the Speed Magic helped out a lot. So let me show you next what I did to my car. Alright, well, so here's the car. A generous contributor to Hans's IOTT channel put the STL files up on Thingiverse, and I downloaded it, and he has HO and N scale STL files that allow you to mount your purple hat onto a flatbed with all the holes and supports. Mine are all busted off, but hence the Kapton tape. So you might notice in my car I have an extra battery that plugs right into the purple hat. It's a 880 milliamp hour, 3.7 volt LiPo, and it charges through the charge port for the M5. One of the things I was getting or was not getting was real consistent, reliable readings. They were really erratic and jerky. One of the things I did was made sure that this module is set in the car and didn't move. Another thing I did was I set this tighten the wheels on this truck, or tighten the screw on this truck so that it doesn't rock. It is solid in there. It doesn't pivot. It doesn't rock. It just runs straight down the track. And I think that was key. I think the car was rocking a little bit as it rolled down the track, skewing the readings. The other thing I did was I made sure that the magnet and the wheels spin real freely in the truck itself. I got some good quality metal trucks, and they're great. They helped out the spinning characteristics of the magnet. So, you know, that would only make sense. Um, so if you're going to build one of these cars, which I guess you're going to have to, those are the two things that I found key. The other thing I did was I've added an old engine weight to the front here, and that just helps the car, the inertia. It doesn't do this as much, and then you have to make sure you center it because you don't want it to be rocking. And once I did that, my readings and the results improved immensely. I was pretty disheartened, and then I found out it's my fault. So anyway, that's what I've done to my car.